So in our homes, Wi-Fi has not been that great. Lots of the cable companies and internet providers have provided us with really crappy cable modems with built-in Wi-Fi and very limited range, very limited capabilities. Now, between our phone, our wonderful talking devices like this Amazon Echo, laptops, you're talking about a lot of devices in your house. Even some people's refrigerators and toasters need to get on the internet, and they do this via wireless. So I've been looking for a recommendation for consumers. We love Ubiquiti Networks and their commercial equipment. Their commercial equipment's really good, but it's not as consumer friendly. We love setting these up. We put these in offices, buildings, large deployments. They're a little bit trickier to set up, but the quality is top notch because Ubiquiti makes really good Wi-Fi equipment. They're experts at it. So I was excited when I found the AirCube. The AirCube is their expertise from these folks we love over here at Ubiquiti, pushed into a small little box that works off of a basic phone app to get it set up, which makes it very consumer friendly. So I'm going to walk you through this device. We're going to do some comparisons between this AirCube and the UniFi AP-AC that I had over here, which is their commercial device. I'm going to put them both next to each other, and we're going to talk about the range on them, the connectivity on them, and do a little bit of testing. So everyone asks me what's the best Wi-Fi to get, and I can't really in good conscience recommend some of the crap I see selling at the retail stores. It's just not that good, especially for what you're paying for it. This device is much more affordable, and the performance on it, we're going to find out just how good this is. There's not much in the box. You get the unit itself, and we've opened it before, so I've already got the wire unwrapped. You get this, and then, well, a manual. So there's the unboxing. There's not a lot in it. Which is fine. The manual walks you through the setup and how to load the app on the phone. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to show you from start to finish how to plug it in and how to set the app up on your phone and how to get it going. And we'll see just how good this works for Wi-Fi and how it compares to some of their commercial equipment and whether or not it's a good recommend for purchasing and putting in your home. The first thing we'll note about the AirCube is it's genuinely a cube. Measures 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So pretty small. It's not too intrusive sitting on your desk or wherever you may want to put this. Plugging it in, pretty simple. One little cord here, plug in and it lights up. Ports on the back, you have 4 wired ports. So we plug in our network port here. They labeled it in blue, make it easy to see. And then we can have a couple other devices plugged in. The way you hook this up, let's say you have a cable modem here. You're going to come out of the cable modem into that port there. And this will do the basic configuration. So it does not replace your cable modem for those who are wondering. We'll plug it in and we'll set up the internet on it, which is pretty straightforward, and we'll show you how the app works. Setting up is actually pretty easy because you just plug it in and it starts glowing, which looks pretty cool. And then we just plug the network cable into here. And the light starts glowing until it's solid, and that's when we get to go set it up. So we have the U-Mobile app from Ubiquiti Networks loaded, and now we're going to go ahead and set up our AirCube. So we're going to go to open it. Don't worry about the beta settings, we're just going to focus on this, the connections, no saved devices. You can set up multiple devices in here, so we're going to set one up, and we'll go for the Discover. Oh, there it is. Doesn't get to find them. There we are. There's the network. Now here's the thing. There's a QR code on the bottom. I like that. That's a nice feature, especially for a consumer-facing product. Scan it with your phone. It logs in and finishes the setup. So it's going to take a second here, and it's going to run through the setup. And now it's connecting to it. Then it brings up the AirCube setup, the license agreement, and the configuration. So this is a summary page, and this is the model that has 2 gigahertz and a 5 gigahertz mode. And it looks like it decided to reconnect to it, not sure why. I won't rule out that's not a phone issue because I've had my phone do that completely at random with some Wi-Fi's. Reconnect to them real quick. It could be because it's choosing between the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz because this supports both. Now, these are just the view settings mode, and by default, this operates in bridge mode. I recommend leaving in bridge mode, and I'm sure they'll add features later, but if you want it in routed mode, it doesn't have a lot of firewall features. So ideally, you're gonna leave in your cable company's router, and then you'll use this as a bridge to that. So just the default mode is fine. But, of course, we have to set up, and we're gonna go over here to configuration. Let's set up the name. So we have 2.4 and 5 gigahertz settings separate. We're going to go ahead and edit the 2.4. We'll call it AirCube Demo. Then we got to set a password. So we'll scroll down a little bit. So apply that. It's going to take a second. And then we set the password here. What Wi-Fi is my favorite password lately. So someone asks you what your Wi-Fi password is. What Wi-Fi? You're answering them and not answering at the same time. So it's reconfiguring there. Now, you can rename the 5 gigahertz separately. For now, we're just going to hit same as radio 1, which means just put them both. Now that's up to you, but I generally leave them the same, and most of the devices will choose between whichever it thinks is the better signal. Because 5 gigahertz has more speed, but most of these speeds are generally faster than your internet connection at home, depending on where you live. But the 2.4 reaches further. Now the other setting options in here are network. This is where you can set it to be in bridge mode or routed mode, and then device names. They have a PoE pass-through option, and the idea is you could have power over Ethernet pass through this to connect it to other devices. More of an advanced configuration, but not really a big deal. They do have night mode, and what night mode does, we'll apply this. It's going to turn off the little LED light here at the bottom based on a time setting. So it doesn't turn off automatically, but you can set it to turn things off. Or if you just don't want the LED on, we'll hit apply, and it'll just completely disable it. I like the LED. It's not very bright. It's not very annoying. It tells me it's on, so we'll definitely go ahead and leave there. We'll go and turn it back on. Now, a couple other things in here. Firmware upgrade. We've already updated the firmware on this to the latest version as of December 5th. 2017, so there's no more firmware upgrades for it, but it's really straightforward and simple. The firmware is in here, and I said yes and upgraded it. We probably should have recorded it, but my employees started playing with it because they were excited because it's a pretty cute little box here. It also has a site survey option, so it'll look around and see what networks are available next to it, what it sees. And this thing left in automatic mode under the configuration, because you can focus and do certain things in the configuration like change which channels it's on. Leaving this all at auto is great. Now this is something Ubiquiti Networks is always specialized in, is understanding the networks around them and adjusting it automatically. They're really good at that. So leaving it all at the own, I trust them. Their commercial products work great all at auto. I'll trust they brought that same expertise inside of this device, so it should be perfectly fine at auto. The last couple of features in here is reboot or reset factory defaults. There's also a reset button on the bottom, so if you hold it in, it'll blink a few times and reset to factory defaults. And we'll jump back to the status page, tells you where connected to. That's kind of the basics of the unit. We will do a quick test here, though, to show you the range it has. And what I have is uap-ac-lr, one of their commercial ones, the one I had at the beginning of the video. And we'll just do a quick comparison for range to show you the range at which these can reach. But the setup, though, easy to do, tells you the IP address, nothing difficult about it. Matter of fact, this is one of the reasons we like it as a consumer product. So let's get started on that. So I have a WaveMon fired up on my laptop, and I'm going to walk around the office real quick. But I know even this far back, throughout the building really, it's really not dropping down at all. And you can see we're connected to the AirCube demo network. I separated the wireless, the 5 and a 2.4. I stay connected to the 2.4, which is why you see the frequency over here as exactly which channel it's on the 2.4. Now what that does is we're going to test for range. We'll do a separate test for speed, but I want to see just how far this reaches. And wandering around, my building's about 2,000 square feet, so wandering around the office, range isn't really an issue. It's a little chilly outside, but we're going to take a walk across the parking lot. So I have a brick building that we're in, and it's kind of drops down the Wi-Fi a little bit going outside. Sorry, there's a little bit of wind noise. We're going to walk across the parking lot here to see just how far this degrades. And I'm putting a pretty good amount of distance between me and the Wi-Fi unit. Oh, laptop's almost getting blown out of my hand from the wind. All right, all the way across the parking lot, 40%. Not bad. Now, while we're out here, we're going to do a comparison to what it looks like connected to the AP-AC. Now we connected to the AP-AC and we're just slightly stronger. I'm moving around a little bit. So the Wi-Fi is just a couple percent stronger, really not a big difference. And I'm cold and I'm going inside now. I love you guys here on YouTube, but this is chilly out. Okay, we're back inside and it's now switched back to the 5 gigahertz. So we're going to do maybe a quick speed test on this to see how much difference between the AirCube and that for speed test. The devices are sitting right next to each other, so this should be a pretty decent comparison. All right, so on the network, I have on the right pane, iPerf started up, and on the left pane, I have iPerf logged into the Unify server, which is on the same network for this demonstration. So we're just going to go across the Wi-Fi over to the other side. So it's iPerf and then the IP address of my machine, and my machine's listening on the other side. So these are actually 2 machines logged in. What I want you to do is watch up here the statistics and you'll see the data going across. Now right now, I'm going to go over down here and we are connected to the Unify AP-AC-lr. So we're doing that. We're at the 5 gigahertz one. So let's go ahead and do a speed test. Now you're going to get some variation, but what I'm doing here is the 2 devices are right next to each other on the table, and I'm keeping the laptop in a fixed position. I'm sitting here at my kitchen table in the office, and we're just going to do a speed test between these and see how it goes. All right, we've seen a speed test of 243. We'll do one more, just run the same test again. So, not bad. So we've seen 203 megabit and 199 megabit on the 5 with the Unify AP-AC. So I'm actually going to exit real quick from here so it doesn't break the connection. So we'll exit, go back to my ThinkPad here, and we're going to switch networks. And we're specifically going to connect to, and I named them differently here, so I make sure I connect to the right one. This is the 5 on the AirCube. All I did was add a 5. I know I didn't do it in the setup, but I added that, so make sure I lock onto that network. Connect. You're going to see the connection drop. And scanning. All right, it is connected. We're going to go back into my Unify and run the same test again. So with the AC, we got the about 199, 203, and we're just going to run exactly the same test. So I just up arrow again. I get the same IP address because my server hands out the same ones, and we'll see what kind of speed test we get with the AirCube. Wow. All right, let's run that again. I'm getting more speed out of the AirCube. Now, by the way, the Unify AC is plugged into the extra port on the AirCube. I don't know if that makes any difference, but maybe I'll have to do one more test because I'm seeing such a substantial speed difference here. The AirCube is outperforming the AC, and I don't know why. Yes, we are consistently getting more transfer speed out of the AirCube. That's actually rather impressive. So let me just try moving the AirCube into a different network port to see if that makes any difference at all. All right, I plugged the Unify AP-AC in directly and bypassed the AirCube, so it's plugged in directly to my network, to the same switch port that the AirCube was plugged into. See if it makes any speed difference at all. Maybe just a little bit. But I also unplugged the AirCube. I powered it off to do this part of the test Nope, we're still seeing a... The AirCube is a little bit faster than AC. The AC has very slightly more range, and I'm not sure why this is. I don't have any internals on this. Maybe it's still adjusting to different network settings because the AirCube's off. So let me have the AirCube plugged in as our final test, but not hooked up to the same network, just plugged in to see if it creates interference that is causing a speed issue at all. Okay, I've left the AC plugged into its own network port, but I just plugged back in the AirCube just to see if it causes like some type of wireless interference or speed. Because we're seeing 246 out of the Unify AP-AC now that we have the AirCube physically unplugged. Now I just plugged it back in, but kept the network port separate. No, we're just seeing some variation in speed here. Now this is the one thing that I don't do a ton of tests on Wi-Fi, and the reason why is things can cause interference. I know at home I start seeing lower speeds just by my microwave being on. I have a Chromecast in between the microwave, and when the microwave comes on, sometimes the Chromecast pauses that's closest to it. So wireless can be really tricky unless you're doing speed tests directly next to it. So you really need to have a fixed point and nothing coming on or off to cause interference. So we're seeing a little bit of variation. I don't know what's causing it, but it's consistently, though, the AirCube is getting faster speed. So that's really interesting. It's not substantial, but every little bit counts if that's what matters. But most people don't even have a connection that fast on their cable or however their ISP is providing them. So if you don't have that fast of a connection, then it's not as critical, because you can only get out to the internet as fast as the slowest piece of that. So if you only have a 40 meg or 50 meg circuit at home or in your office, then having a 200 meg connection to that circuit, it slows down to the speed of the circuit. People think a lot of times they're slow speeds because their Wi-Fi is slow. They want a faster Wi-Fi, but I first suggest look at who your provider is and see if that's where the issue is. So my final thoughts on the AirCube are, it's awesome. This is a really impressive, small, compact device that really, the Wi-Fi range on this, I think for consumers in most houses, you're talking about something that's going to be aesthetically pleasing, not to try to run crap all over your house or have some big honking Wi-Fi thing that people want it. So it's got a nice, sleek, modern design, but that, is not the most important thing to me. Does it work? It works great. That's what is really impressive. The strength in wireless, I'm all the way across my parking lot here. So I've really put some distance, walls, actually several walls and products and everything that's in between here. There's nowhere in my 2,000 square foot office that I didn't have full signal. So if you have about a 2,000 or 3,000 square foot house, depending on what it's made of, because Wi-Fi, unfortunately, some things will act as a Faraday cage and block Wi-Fi signals. But if you're looking home office apartment, this thing's impressive. This works really, really well. Compact design. I did notice, and it actually feels really good because I was outside, after I left it on, I'm talking for hours, it's only slightly above room temperature. It's warm, but not what I would consider hot. But it feels great on my fingers right now because they're cold after going outside and dealing with the Michigan winter. But so this is definitely a product that I'm excited that Unify, they have it in their beta. It's limited. It's hard to find. We got this one on Amazon. They were on sale. Don't know exactly what the final price is because I know it's a beta product, but I am excited to see future development because as it stands right now, it works great. So to think that they would do anything to improve this further, that'd be incredible. Couple side notes, if you want to use this as a firewall, as of right now, as of the firmware here in December of 2017, it doesn't have much features. It's just really basic routing. But then again, if you're looking for more advanced routing, this isn't what you look for or buy. Buy one of the more higher end devices and get routing. But for people who go, I need coverage for all the many devices I have in my house, I need them to work all throughout the house, this is a pretty good little purchase here. You can't beat it for the price. I think the MSRP in these is right around $100-something. I don't know the final pricing on it. I know we got it on sale for a little bit less than that. But we're pretty excited about it. I don't know if I'll sell this one or take it home and use it because it works really well. The 5 gigahertz is really fast on this. All right, thanks for watching. If you like the content here, like and subscribe. And that's about it. AirCube, good little box. Awesome stuff. I wonder if I can take it apart.